What's up, YouTube? Godformer T21 here, and welcome back to another Cunning Heroes 2 online replay. We're playing on Lazarus Ambush, and I am the Soviets. So I thought it was kind of interesting to show a Soviet match against some of the Oberkommando West. You can see we're completely even. 2 Soviets, 2 United States horses, 2 Wehrmacht, and 2 Oberkommando West. Anyway, let's switch over to me. So the commander I'm liking against the Oberkommando West, and just basically in general, is the shock mortar heavy tactics, which give you the not only the ISU 152, which is very, it's a good counter to the Yag Tiger, but it's also pretty good against most of the Oberkommando West's armor. And the shock troops are very deadly against basic infantry of the Oberkommando West, especially the Volksgrenadiers. Even Obersoldaten, the shock troops can do quite well at close range with them. Anyway, so as the Soviets, I'm thinking, okay, well, let's look at the Oberkommando West infantry. Volksgrenadiers to start off with, then Obersoldaten a little bit later in the match, and then Panzerfusiliers with Gewehrs possibly. So you can see a big weakness of the Oberkommando West is the fact that I have machine guns early on and they don't. They could if they have the Luftwaffe ground forces doctrine, and also you can see we all have assault grenadiers pushing in. So on this map, I have, we were talking in the beginning like I usually do, and I'm going to hold the fuel and this center point here. You notice the center point, there's several points to flank from. There's this road here. We also have this kind of little clearing here. Very easy to set up with a machine gun, just block that off with barbed wire. And then this side with the wall. So you can see right now we have Oberkommando West setting up. The fresh OKW setting up Mr. Fresh Henny. Fresh Henny. And we have Czech X going against me. So up close, we do have a lot of conscripts. We have 6 men per squad compared to these Storm Pioneers, but we're not going to, conscripts do kind of suck. I'm just going to admit that. Like they can be good with PPSH upgrades. They're pretty deadly that way. And you can see we have an airborne, we have infantry company, and then Nick decided to go with a shock rifle with the IS-2 heavy tanks. And you can see American infantry. You're going to started seeing a lot more of people going back to the original factions, or just playing with the original factions after they have the Western Armies DLC to kind of counter some of these newer nations. Anyway, you can see Stranglers being double teamed here. You can see the amount of damage the Pioneer squads are taking against the American Riflemen. Anyway, I see a Kubelwagen and I point out to my my ally here. He's going to chase it off, and it luckily gets away for him. Anyway, you can see they're going to push an attack through the center here. I'm going to pull my guys back. We are definitely not going to win this fight. And I had a machine gun I was going to originally set up here, but I'm just going to push it forward. I do have my conscripts to take some shots at the Storm Pioneers. Anyway, we have multiple machine guns set up here. Me and Nick are going to try to hold the center at all costs. You can see the big weakness of the Oberkommando West is they cannot deal with machine guns early on. Yes, they can get a flanker, a flanking Kubelwagen, right? But other than that, they don't have mortars, right? They don't have any kind of support weapons, so they're pretty weak to, MGs. Same thing with the Americans early on. A lot of German MGs. Wow, look at that. These guys are getting butchered. That's actually good. You see he's in heavy cover there, and Americans get up close, they get wiped out. He does have volley fire on, and wow, I almost lost 2 squads there. And that should suppress them overall, but up close and personal, these are going to do quite a lot of damage. Anyway, you can see Nick's doing a good job kind of helping to hold this flank here with several MGs. I now have 2 of my own. However, I am very aware of this possible flanking route. I thought one of the interesting things was the fact that he had his Kubelwagen to take on an MG in a house. This is basically a car with a machine gun, so just keep that in mind. And it's doing some damage, right? But, he probably didn't count on me bringing up some of my own conscripts. I wanted to keep them in the cover, and they just kind of hopped right over the fence, unfortunately, for me. I mean, this area has been locked down. I'm going to make a mortar to kind of help support my men here. You can see how quickly my conscripts are just getting chewed up by these Storm Pioneers. If I don't retreat, I'm going to lose them. And I ended up losing them there, unfortunately. Just a little bit too late to retreat them. Once again, though, these guys are suppressed. And the machine gun does quite a lot of damage, especially when they're in the negative cover here. Anyway, he sends more of these guys here, but I have 2 machine guns to help cover this. So I figured these guys can help push back these guys behind the Kubelwagen, and we can't see the Kubelwagen once I move these men up. And then these guys will get suppressed, and I also have my conjures moving in to help kind of, you know, these guys are suppressed, but they will be pinned, and then my conjures can capture this anyway. Anyway, you can see they will kind of suppress us, but we are a machine gun, so keep that in mind. And we are in cover. And once the machine gun starts focusing on this guy, will be in a lot of trouble. They're pushing deep into our lines, and this side, you know, a lot of American riflemen against grenadiers. Anyway, Kubelwagen's forced to pull back once again. I'm with the mindset just put some mines down and help cover my flank. Soon enough, I'm pretty sure that Czech here is pretty much going to try to flank around me, so I'm very aware of that. You can see the Urban Commando West not doing a bad job on this flank here. I was going to say that medic definitely doesn't have a pistol, unlike the armed American medics. So you can see I have my machine guns, one's covering this angle, one's covering this one to kind of protect their flank. However, I am vulnerable from this side. I'm grabbing a 3rd machine gun. You could call us, it's not really a spam, but I'm going to try to lay down some barbed wire here. But my men take the quickest route, not the safest route. They could cut over here. They're going to cut around this side. I'm going to see the Oberkommando West forces here. You can see through the fog of war. And yeah, they're taking a really weird route there. Anyway, however, at this point I am able to see that he's trying to flank me here. So I'm going to turn my machine guns. At least one. And they're actually going to get around me. This is good. And they're going to throw a grenade. They'll do a lot of damage with that grenade. But I think with my own mortar, you know, he decided to withdraw too a little prematurely there. And I think my mortar hurt my men seriously. So I have a 3rd MG coming out. I want the MG to really help cover my flank here. I'm doing a good job holding the center here because right now you can see this left victory point is under enemy control. Same thing on this side. But with a lieutenant helping to lead the U.S. forces here, they should be able to take that. You can see they're upgrading to a half track. I'm getting about 29 fuel per minute. Let's see what the Oberkommando West are, about 21. Oh, we went with the cool. I have this commander. It's the Elite Armored Commander. I had a video for you guys with that commander, but then the game updated. Like the day I was gonna I had to go to work, and then when I got home from work, I was gonna record the video, and they updated. Anyway, I don't know what happened here, but I guess I missed it again. Did he drop something? Like, I don't know what happened there, but maybe you guys saw it on the mini-map. You can see Nick's MG's a little misplaced there, facing the wrong way. He's trying to help with the assault. You can see a lot of dead guys. And I figure I have some cons. I have a free squad here. I want to try to help my allies, you know, help flank around. So I do have a lot of MGs. That's a great way to counter them, you know. Oswins are pretty good with the Wehrmacht against the United States forces. And you can just see the mass amount of, well, that thing's gone. You can see the mass amount of just plain riflemen, no upgrades whatsoever. And considering he's the infantry commander, you should really consider those upgrades. Just double check. Okay, he doesn't have the, let's be fair, he doesn't have the command points to upgrade. I'm sure he'll do that as soon as he does. We're getting 52 munitions a minute. I'm going to take away some of their fuel here. You can see I saw the MG. It's an MG-42. So I'm going to pull back to the very edge of this square where he can't see me in the fog of war. If I can't see him, he can't see me. If I can just cut off their fuel for a little bit, it'll delay any possible incursions into, well, any possible tanks coming out early by these guys. So here's my plan. You can see I built a T-34 factory. Oh, I guess it's called a Tivoli Battalion Command, and I'm going to grab myself a T-34. This is 9 minutes in the game. Keep in mind that 10-minute rule still applies to the Soviets. And keep in mind we only have one field point. And about half the map. So I had to withdraw those guys, but I do have my mortar set up back here. And I do have an MG covering this road here. I do have my shock troops. These guys have body armor. They did get nerfed because originally they were just really powerful. With a massive update, they took away part of their armor. So these guys do have PPSHs. These guys are very deadly up close. I'm not sure if they'd win against a... They'd probably beat even a Storm Pioneer squad there. So you can see they're slowly starting to push back. I mean, a lot of these forces are back at base refitting. And you can see this is a massive assault. This is a mistake because, one, he's blobbed up, and he knows I have multiple machine guns. So I'm going to ship the second machine gun in here. You can just see this 5 units and an AT. I'm going to start tossing grenades into this. And it's just going to be an utter massacre on this side. Trying to wipe out full units. And even Nick is bringing over his MG. You can see this unit's about to get wiped out. And then the mortar. Just look at all the dead Germans right here. Okay, to be fair, like, let's say, okay, so I lost 1 man here, and I lost 2 guys in this squad, right? But look at that. There's just tons of these poor Oberkommando West soldiers just lying dead on the road there from that failed attack. And I was like, oh, only if that T-34 had been there to help out. Anyway, I want to move my tank in to help out. You can see there's just a half-track for scouting. He had originally some Panzer Grenadiers in there. And yeah, a captain. Yeah, now great. He has all light machine guns there, and he has an ambulance. So I'm just gonna move in and keep capturing these points. Because keep in mind, it's munitions and fuel. So I like how on the map now we get extra munitions and fuel for holding it. Because before it's just like map control doesn't matter, right? You could have, as long as you have that fuel, you get the same amount. But it's kind of an incentive now. Now, this is kind of an interesting thing what I'm doing here. I'm gambling that I could probably kill these guys before they could wipe out my tank, but that was not a smart engagement there. I did take out half the squad though and forced them to retreat. I'm simply just going to repair my men, repair the tank here, so my engineers, and I'm going to grab a second one here pretty soon because T-34s are cheap. If you look at their fuel situation, he's waiting for a Panther, and it's going to take him a little while. And this guy is also waiting for a Panther. Does not help when we keep cutting off their fuel, and you can see the he's building a Panzer IV right there. So it's not too long, but I'm telling Nick that he's also going to grab a T-34 also. So build to smash these heavy MGs. So one thing I didn't get for myself, I didn't get any ATs because I thought I would have the those guys out. And look, a second assault. This time with Oberkommando, just time with not Oberkommandos. This time with Obersoldaten, and I see that he's gonna possibly try to flank me, but actually he's gonna go into the trench here. You can see these guys are shooting rifle grenades. It's with the I don't know. You can actually you can do the fighting position with the machine gun, and you can keep your men in there. That's pretty cool. Anyway, with the amount of grenades going into that trench, it's gonna make it quite unpleasant for those guys to hold it. I'm gonna build a second sandbag by moving out my men out. We are repairing our tank, and the second one's coming out here. So you can see these guys pretty much, they're double teaming them on this side right now. They thought they were going to try to flank me, and he decided to like move around again. And I see these guys. I knew he was probably going to hop out, so I just want to retreat and get my guys back to base. Hopefully, you can see I've cut off their fuel again, so I am harassing them with my shock troops and conscripts. Just to, I mean, their front line seems pretty focused on this side right here. Just want to see what commanders they want. Let's get in and pick a commander. Yeah, and I got the assault grens. So you can see early on, they don't have their fuel. We have 2 tanks. We have a Sherman over there. I have 2 T-34s. They can hope for MGs, but they just can't. Look at all the spare troops just laying around here. They need to push onto that fuel. And yeah, I don't want to push onto this sector. But I'm kind of wondering like why he hasn't captured. He doesn't have any forces nearby. Why has a machine gun? He's healing up and reinforcing his troops. By the way, reinforcing does not work when you're not in your own territory with the ambulance, just to keep that in mind. Time to have a little bit of fun. Push up. And I was worried because I was hoping he didn't see it, because I'm going to try a massive flank here just to overwhelm the machine guns and help out my allies. So that's what I'm going to do. And then you can see Nick over here has a T-34 almost dead. As you can see as we go, just wrecking trees and other things, we're just going to push right in. I do want to get rid of this half track just to have someone to like not harass. I mean, just to not give him like a half track. It doesn't reinforce or anything, but it's just it can transport troops. You can see this is going to do a massive rout. He's just going to completely retreat everything he has. And I'm going to chase him. Sometimes you just have to realize, I see a lot of Panzer Grenadiers and Assault Grens, and that's just not going to really stop us. You can see we're running over guys, and we're pursuing them, and we are getting some kills. mostly from these machine gunners. But I know I get back to his base, and I figured, okay, these guys are going to turn around and start hitting me with Panther Strike, so I'm going to pull back. But that was a good thing. I was able to force the enemy completely back from the field, do a mass rout. Nick is now going to move with his machine gun, and this whole side is pretty much fallen to us because of my T-34s. And the fact is that we have the fuel advantage because we're taking their fuel back. And we have the early tanks out. It's 15 minutes in the game. You should really capture this. Anyway, that's actually a really cool skin. Interesting. So keep that in mind if you're going against Soviets. Tanks could come out pretty early. And the Oberkommandos, let's see if they could actually make any Panthers or anything by now. Nope, they quit. So basically, he did have a Panther out, but they saw their situation as kind of hopeless against. Basically, we had superior fuel. I was about to get a third T-34. We could just pretty much overwhelm with anything we had. And on this side, they really didn't stand a chance, especially with this light Stug 3. This is good against infantry, not good against tanks with its small gun there. And I hope you guys enjoy this. Cod from T21 signing off.